kids, welcome back. So what we're looking at today is lesson 5, so decimal points in products. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So remember, a product is the solution to a multiplication problem. So fractionally speaking, powers of 10. Obviously, we're not going to work with a partner on this, but we are going to go through both sets of these and answer them. So partner A, 250 times 1/10. So if we multiply this by 1/10, that's the same thing as having 250 over 10. So 250 over 10, the zeros cancel, so we have 25. 250 over 100, same thing, because remember with fractions, we multiply across. So now we have 25 over 10. 10 can go into 25 2 times with 5 left over, so it's 2.5. Next one, we have 48 divided by 10. So how many times can 10 go into 48? 4 times with how much left over? 8, so 8/10. And 48 divided by 100. So how many times can 48 go into 100? It can't. It's going to be 0.48. Now, over here, 250 divided by 10. How many times can 10 go into 250? Well, it can go in 25 times. How many times can 100 go into 250? It can go in 2.5. You should be noticing a pattern here. 48 times 1/10. So 48 over 10. So 10 can go in there. 4 with 8/10 left over. And 48 over 100, which we know we can rewrite as 0.48. So we got the exact same answer either way we did these. So multiplying by a fraction, so 1/10, is the same as dividing by 10. It's the exact same thing. Same with 100. Multiplying by 1/100th is the same as dividing by 100. So use your work in the previous problems to find these two. So we're 1/10. That means we're dividing by 10. So we move the decimal over one place. So for this first one, it's going to be 72. For the second one, we have 2 places after the 0. So we're in the hundredths. So we're going to move the decimal 2 places over here. So it's 7.2. Find each product. So 36 times 1/10. We move the decimal once, so we get 3.6. 24.5 times 1/10. So we already have a decimal in the first one, but we're still going to move it one more to the left to get 2.45. 1.8 times 1/10. Once again, there's already a decimal, but we still move it one more to the left, so 0.18. 54 times 100th. So we move the decimal 2 places, so 0.54. And the last one, we have 9.2 times 100th. So we move it 2 places. We already have a decimal here, so 1, 2. So it means we're going to have 0.092. Sometimes we have to add those zeros in because we have to move the decimal place so many times more than what our number is. So we end up with a small decimal. Jada says, if you multiply a number by 1,000th, the decimal point of the number moves 3 places to the left. Do you agree with her statement? Do we agree? Yeah. We should agree because, whoops, that was supposed to be a C in the name. Because it's the same as dividing by 1,000. Which would move our decimal point 3 places. All right, the next section, fractionally speaking, multiples of powers of 10. Select all the expressions that are equivalent to 6/10 times 5/10. Explain your reasoning. So if we look at this first one, we have 6 times 1/10. What does that become? 6/10. Times 5 times 1/10. What does this become? 5/10. So is it equivalent? Yes. All right, we have 6 times 100th times 5 times 1/10. Does that work? Nope. We have 100th versus a tenth. We have 6 times 1/10 times 5 times 1/10. Will this work? Yes, it will. We have 6 times 5 times 1/10 times 1/10. Does this work? Yes, it does. We have all the same values. We have the 5, we have the 10, or we have the 5, we have the 6, and then we have the 1/10. So it'll work out. And then what about this last one? 6/10 times 5/10. Yes, it's just writing them as fractions. So in this one, we were looking at thousands and hundredths. Same thing here, thousands and hundredths. So those were not equivalent to tenths. So be careful with your place values. So what we want to do is find the value of 6/10 times 5/10. So if we write this as a fraction, 6/10 times 5/10, 6 times 5 is 30 over 10 times 10, which is 100. Remember, when we multiply across the top and across the bottom. So we have 30 hundredths, or we can simplify this to 3/10. So our answer is 0.3 or 3/10 or 30 hundredths. Any of those three would work for our answer, since it doesn't say how it wants us to have it written. Okay? All right. Number 3, find the value of each product by writing and reasoning with an equivalent expression with fractions. So converting these into fractions. So here, we have one place after the decimal, which means we have 3/10 times 2 hundredths. There's 2 places after the decimal, so it's 2 hundredths. So 3 times 2 is 6. 10 times 100 is 1,000. So we have 6 thousandths. So 0.12, oops, and then 6. That's the thousandths place. All right, for B, we have 7/10 times 5 hundredths. So 7/10 times 5 hundredths. 7 times 5 is 35. 10 times 100 is 1,000. So you end up with 0.035, which is 35 thousandths. So this is how we multiply with decimals. We can take and convert these into fractions and then multiply across the top and across the bottom to put them back into decimal form. Your keyword for this lesson is multiply, because this is all about multiplying, especially with powers of 10 and base of 10. It makes it a little easier. We're just moving the decimal point over. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Have a great day, you guys. Bye. Remember your keyword, it's multiply.